And welcome back. A Long Island woman who falsely accused two football players of rape faced her sentencing hearing today. Nikki Yovino, who you see right there, she will serve 1 year, though, even though she was sentenced to 3 years in prison because 2 of those years were suspended as part of a plea agreement that she reached with prosecutors. Just a few moments ago, we got some reaction from her defense attorney. There you can see her in court, some video from earlier today. We got some reaction from her defense attorney about the sentence. Let's take a listen to that.
Let me just say that this is obviously a difficult day for Nikki and her family. This is a serious punishment that she is going to face, and I think her willingness to accept this this plea deal reflects her accountability for what happened. At this point, we're going to focus on her serving her time and working on her getting back to her family and continuing to be a good contributing member of society that she had been for her entire life up to this point. So that's all I have to say at this point. If you have any questions, I may have an answer for you, but I'd like to.
What made her decide to take the plea deal last minute?
Can't comment on that.
Forgive me for the question, but it looked like she was rolling her eyes during the victim impact statement.
She was not.
I was sitting there looking at it.
She wasn't.
Why didn't she address the court at all?
Nothing else to say.
All right, Aaron Keller, you really put the word to the defense attorney there, claiming that you saw Nikki Yovino, the defendant in the case, roll her eyes when she was being sentenced. The defense attorney wasn't having it. Do we have video? Is this the video that we're looking at, Aaron, of her rolling her eyes?
It's a clip that appears to be at least some of it, and apologize to you folks listening. The wind has suddenly picked up here in Bridgeport, Connecticut, where this hearing happened not too long ago. But look, I mean, I was standing right next to the pool camera, and it looked to me at a minimum like the body language we were getting here was somewhat flippant. That's to say a minimum. Some other people thought they saw her roll her eyes several times during the victim impact statements. I wasn't the only one that noticed it. It was at least one other reporter, and it was a number of other people who were standing present, including attorneys who weren't even involved in this case, because this sentencing hearing was sort of in the midst of some other hearings that were happening in court. So there were a lot of attorneys around, and the bottom line is, look, the talk after this hearing was, did people see what the defendant was doing when an attorney for her victims was reading one impact statement, and when one of the victims got up in front of the microphone and in front of the cameras and gave his own victim impact statement?
Well, I hope we can turn around that video. I want to see it with my own eyes. But it seems to me, based on where the attorney was standing and where Nikki was standing, that he would have had no way of even seeing if she had rolled her eyes. So I don't know how he was able to answer your question. But anyway, let's move on from that point. And I think we actually have the video of the alleged eye roll on our website, lawandcrime.com. So our viewers, head there, check it out yourself. But let's talk about this actual case. There's been a lot of twists and turns in this case, but in the end, she agreed to a plea agreement. Talk a little bit about her sentence.
Okay, so this originally was charged as a felony along with a misdemeanor. It wound up getting boiled down right on the morning of jury selection here to a couple of misdemeanors. I think it was 3. It was one for making up a story for each of the victims, and then an additional one for basically lying to the police. And that's how it rolled into a possible 3-year sentence. That's 1 year for each of the misdemeanors that she ultimately pleaded to. Look, this case got a lot of attention because, of course, we don't want to have a society where people are falsely accused of rape. But a lot of people on the flip side, and this did cause a lot of concern here, were worried about the precedent of charging someone because there's the fear that someone who legitimately is a victim of rape might fear coming forward because they may fear, well, what if they think I'm making it up? Could I myself face charges? I think that if you look at the facts of this case, as I understand them, this is a case where someone made this up. Okay, she admitted she made it up. And there's a reason why police believe she made it up. And that's because, look, I mean, it's unpleasant to talk about, but when there is a rape case, there's a rape kit taken. Police expect certain kinds of statements. They expect certain kinds of
So, Aaron, what was her motivation for making up these rapes?
So she apparently told police that the reason that she made this up is because she was afraid that another person she was interested in wouldn't want her back if that other unknown person found out that she had consensual sex with these athletes. So she claims that she was.
Let's break this down. So she didn't want another guy to know she had sex with another guy. So she said the guy raped her instead of that she had sex with him.
Basically, yeah. So, you know, she wanted to play the victim card. Okay, this is the state's case. This is the state's theory of this case. The state basically said, yeah, that she had consensual sex with these athletes, and you know, there's sort of a side moral discussion about whether or not that was the right thing to do for the athletes and for this defendant. But apparently, she was really interested in another person, a third guy, and she didn't want that guy to lose interest in her, so she claimed that this sex was a rape rather than consensual to somehow not lose the attention of this person that she apparently was really interested in.
But she's had a lot of stories along the way, right? She changed her stories in court. So this is an interesting resolution to this case. Aaron Keller, thank you so much. I know you were in court all morning for us, had some issues getting you live earlier, so you've been working hard for us. We really appreciate it, you keeping tabs on this case.